Now we're moving on to quantitative data. That is anything that produces meaning that can be transformed into numbers. We will be discussing archival, observational, and other survey questions. The first type of quantitative data collection technique we will discuss is archival. This is when numeric data is previously collected by someone else. Examples of quantitative data that is archival includes financial statements, like the income statements from many public companies. These types of statements are normally filed on a periodic basis. Some of its advantages or pros may include the cost, the speed. It may in fact be unobtrusive, and there could also be multiple sources of this data. However, just like its qualitative counterpart, there are disadvantages or cons. Do you have access to it? Even if you did, are you familiar with it? And because of those two considerations, this data might not be timely. And because you did not collect it, the data might not be relevant, and the level of accuracy of the data might be unknown to you. You may simply have to trust that it is accurate. The next type of quantitative data we will be discussing is observational. This is measuring through personal examination. For example, counting the number of customers, counting the times those customers make a purchase, or some type of intensity. The advantages of quantitative observational data are based on the fact that it is first-hand. That is, you control the collection of the data. Therefore, you know the extent to which it is objective and accurate. Just like its qualitative counterpart, observational quantitative data can be very costly in terms of money, time, and equipment. And it also has the same considerations about overt and covert observation. The third type of quantitative data collection technique we will be discussing is other survey questions. This is a formalized set of questions for which the responses can be converted into a numerical answer. Just like happy and sad faces, you can assign numbers to them. An advantage of this type of question is the administration, or it could be the administration, because sometimes these types of questions are very difficult and respondents or customers need help to understand them and respond to them. However, in other cases, these types of questions might be easily understood, and therefore it could be a self-serve type of questionnaire. Also, if you're asking questions on a survey, you're able to ask the questions in both paper and pencil format, as well as an online format. This gives the researcher or the marketing company much flexibility in how they collect the data. But also, an interesting advantage of this type of data collection technique is that it allows the collection of data that really cannot be accurately collected in the other techniques. For example, values. How much do you value something? You can only infer that from many of the other techniques. Finally, some disadvantages with these types of survey questions include no follow-up, just like its qualitative counterpart. The cost of designing them can be very, very expensive, just like its qualitative counterpart. There also might be a low response rate, just like its qualitative counterpart. And the answers to these questions may or may not be inaccurate. Again, you're trusting that the respondent gives a truthful answer to these questions. So now it's time for another team task about quantitative data. Let's go back to the soup shop in our minds, and let's list 3 ways you could use the different quantitative data collection techniques we've discussed in class to help the soup shop. Also, when you reflect on both quantitative and qualitative data techniques, which is better and why?